Thank you for the introduction. It's a real pleasure for me being here. And with this presentation, I will talk about the Ravenna CCS project that Eni is developing with SNAM. So just a very quick, really quick introduction on the Eni CCS strategy, and then I'll jump to the Ravenna CCS project. So, Eni is a global energy company that is pursuing decarbonization. Eni set a net zero target in 2050 and set up a clear roadmap to achieve this target. CCS is part of the solution identified by Eni to achieve this target. Therefore, Eni is actively pursuing and developing many CCS projects, as you can see from this map. We are active not only in Europe, but also worldwide. For example, we are developing projects in Australia, in North Africa, for example, in Egypt, but of course also in the European area. Recently, we made the headlines with the INET project about 1 month ago because we reached a really important milestones for Eni and also for the UK government because we reached the financial close of one of the first CO2 storage project in the United Kingdom. We are also present in the Netherlands with the L10 project. This project has been recently awarded with the Connect Euro Facility Fund. About 55 million euros have been awarded to this L10 project. And then, of course, we are also active in Italy with the Ravenna CCS project. The target that Eni has set in terms of CCS CO2 storage capacity is 50 million ton before to 2030. Okay, now we can jump to the Ravenna CCS project. So with this slide, I'm trying to answer a quite simple question, really, that is, what is the Ravenna CCS project? It is an infrastructure to gather CO2 in multimodal ways. That means that CO2 could come via ships, via trucks, and also via trains. Once gathered, the CO2 is transported, is firstly compressed and then transported offshore to offshore platforms. Then, thanks to the repurposing of offshore platforms, CO2 is injected in depleted reservoirs that are used as storage sites. This project, as I mentioned before, has been developed by Eni in joint venture, a 50-50 joint venture, unincorporated joint venture with SNAM. SNAM was the natural partner for Eni for the development of this project because also SNAM has a strong decarbonization commitment and also SNAM identifies CCS as one of the main levers to achieve this decarbonization target. The Ravenna CCS project can rely on the large storage potential of the Eni operated depleted reservoir in the Adriatic Sea. We are talking about around 500 million tons of storage potential. And you can also rely on the fact that Eni operates these fields since the 60s. So the knowledge of the subsoils and of the reservoirs here is really deep. This 500 million ton storage potential accounts for over the 70% of the announced cumulative storage capacity in the EU Mediterranean area. So you can understand that the contribution that this CO2 storage project could give to the decarbonization not only of the Italian industries, but of the overall Southern Europe, Mediterranean areas is quite great because basically we account for the larger share of the CO2 storage capacity that was currently announced. So this is due to this figure that we consider the Ravenna CCS project as the reference hub for the Southern Europe. The Ravenna CCS project has been developed in phases. There is the phase 1 of the Ravenna CCS project that is currently in operation and is injecting up to 25,000 tons of CO2 per year. Then there will be the phase 2 of the Ravenna CCS project with a storage capacity up to 4 MTPA by 2030, and then there will be further expansion up to 60 million tons per year after 2030. Thanks to the 500 million tons of total storage capacity of the Eni depleted reservoir, as I just said. So starting from the phase 1, it is an integrated CCS project because Eni operates the whole value chain. So the capture plant in Casal Borsetti, where CO2 is captured from a gas treatment plant. Then CO2 is transported via a repurposed pipeline, a repurposed oil and gas pipeline. It is transported to a repurposed platform that it is used to inject CO2 in a depleted reservoir operated by Eni. This is one of the first CO2 storage projects that are operational in Europe. For sure, it is the first in Italy. It represents an excellence for Italy and for CCS. Just to show some representative number of this project, it takes around 14 months to reach mechanical completion after the final investment decision, and it took about 18 months for the starting of injection. Also considering the performance of the capture plant are really impressive. We are talking about a capture efficiency higher than 92%. That is a quite impressive result considering the harsh condition, the harsh industrial condition we are talking about, because we are capturing CO2 at low pressure and low temperature. Okay, so from phase 1 we go to phase 2. The main difference respect to phase 1 is that this is not an integrated CCS project. So Eni, in joint venture with Snam, will be the operator just of one side of the whole value chain of the CCS project. So just of the storage part of the value chain. So all the emitters and the capture side, also the onshore transportation is out of the scope of the Ravenna CCS phase 2. So as I told you before, emission could come in different ways, could come by ship, by truck, by trains, and they are collected in the Ravenna hub. That is a logistic hub where emissions are, where CO2 is temporarily stored, and then is transported through a SNAM-operated onshore pipeline to Casal Borsetti. In Casal Borsetti, there is the compression plant where CO2 is mixed with other CO2 coming from the SNAM-operated onshore pipelines, is compressed, and then is transported through 2 new offshore pipelines to the storage sites where CO2 will be injected thanks to the repurposing of existing platform used for oil and gas activities. The key milestone that we set, we are committed to reach is the 4 MTPA of injection capacity by 2030. Okay, so I briefly described you the main feature of the Ravenna CCS phase 2 project. Now, switching to the other side of the coin, so on the emitter side. The emitters are asking for this project, for the Ravenna CCS project. You can easily see from this map that the interested emitters in this project are not only from Italy, but from all over the South Europe and in the Mediterranean area. We are talking about Spain, France, Greece, Croatia. So there are many, many different emitters. We executed more than 30 non-binding agreements with different emitters that correspond more or less to 28 millions of tons per annum that could be delivered to Ravenna for permanent geological storage. Of course, these emitters are at a different stage of development. We are well aware of it, but just considering the most advanced one, we are talking about 4 MTPA of CO2 that will be delivered, that could be, in principle, delivered by emitters that have been already awarded with the Innovation Fund, and they set they point have as they pointed to Ravenna as their permanent storage location. On top of this 4 MTPA, there could be another 4 MTPA of emitters that have a strong decarbonization commitment, and they are completing the final engineering phase, the design of their capture project, and they are going to apply to the next course of the Innovation Fund. So just to say that the demand from the emitters for this type of project is really, really high, and in fact, it exceeds the capacity of the Ravenna CCS project itself. So we talked about 28 MTPA of emission that could be delivered. Out of these 28 MTPA, around 16 could be delivered by ships. So shipping solution represents a really enabler, a really important thing for the Ravenna CCS project. You can see also from this map why we consider Ravenna CCS project as a reference project, not only in Italy, but in the Mediterranean area, because many emissions will come, could come in principles also from South Europe and all the Mediterranean area. So considering the importance of the shipping solution, Eni is developing a shipping service that will offer to the emitters in order to facilitate the connection to the Ravenna CCS project. In this context, we are cooperating with the most advanced shipping operators that are interested in developing CO2 shipping solution. We have executed 12 agreements with them in order to develop this kind of service and facilitate the decarbonization of Italy and Europe. This is just a snapshot of the Ravenna hub, of the logistic hub for the temporary storage of CO2 emission. The hub will be built in an industrial area, minimizing the environmental impact because the area is already industrialized, and benefiting of the access to the port and also to roads and railways, allowing the connection of ships, trains and trucks, and the delivery of large amount of CO2. So we have previously talked about the fact that many emission could come via ships, around 16 MTPA. The complementary part of the total of 28 MTPA could come via pipeline. SNAM, that is the transmission system, the gas transmission system operator in Italy, will be the operator of this pipeline and is currently developing these onshore pipelines. You can see from this picture the route that has been designed by SNAM for this pipeline, connecting the main Italian industrial cluster, so facilitating the decarbonization of the northern Italy, but also facilitating the connection of other industrial hubs in other North European countries. SNAM already applied for an environmental impact assessment for some of this line, the one connecting Ravenna and Ferrara to Casal Borsetti. Okay, so we can move to the next slide. Ravenna CCS was also recognized by the European Commission as a project of common interest. In fact, Ravenna CCS represents the storage site of the Callisto project. The Callisto project is a transnational project that has been developed by Eni SNAM in collaboration also with Air Liquide, that is the coordinator of this project. And it consists of gathering CO2 from France, some industrial cluster near Marseille, and also from industrial cluster in Italy for permanent storage in Ravenna. The recognition also by the European Commission of the importance of this project confirmed the fact that it is really a relevant hub, not only for Italy, but also for Europe, and will enable the decarbonization of many, many industrial emitters in Europe. Okay, Ravenna CCS is perfectly aligned with the European and also Italian policies concerning decarbonization and concerning CCS. So we spoke a lot this morning about this Net Zero Industry Act. Ravenna CCS contributing with 4 MTPA at 2030 can amount to the 8% of the Net Zero Industry Act target. It is also aligned with the National Energy and Climate Plan of Italy. In particular, this plan was updated last year in June 2024, and the plan was ranked by CCS Europe as the second best plan of all the European member states. That is because the plan really stressed the importance of CCS as an essential measure to combat climate change and to achieve the climate targets. Ravenna CCS is explicitly mentioned inside this plan as the reference CCS project allowing the decarbonization of industrial emissions. Last but not least, the Ministry of Environment and Energy Security last year conducted a study for the development of the business model and the regulatory framework in Italy for CCS, including the supporting mechanism that could be given to the emitters. This is really a very, very important milestone that will underpin the development of CCS in Italy. Okay, just the last slide, I promise. This is just to show you the evolution of the Italian legislative framework. So basically, Italy adopted the European CCS directive in 2011. Then basically nothing happened until 2020, 2021. And recently, in the last years, everything happened. So as I told you before, the update of the National Energy and Climate Plan recognized the importance of CCS. The ministry conducted this very, very important study, but there were also new legislation allowing CO2 storage in offshore depleted reservoir that allow Eni to implement their phase 1 Ravenna CCS project and also the development of the phase 2. So we are quite confident that we are pursuing the right direction, and we will continue at this pace to make CCS a reality in Italy. So this last slide is just to summarize the main points. So Ravenna represents a reference hub in Europe due to its large storage potential that accounts for over the 70% of the overall announced storage capacity in the European Mediterranean region. The Ravenna CCS project is already operational with its phase 1, injecting CO2, and will be ramped up to 4 MTPA by 2030, and with further expansion up to 16 MTPA in the future. Thank you, everyone, and sorry if I was quite long.